It's August 2026, and the energy at Te Poho over Riri Marae in Gisborne is electric. Te Pati Mari is officially launching its election campaign. Standing before supporters, co-leader Debbie Narera Packer outlines the strategy. The pitch is straightforward. Give the party your complete trust, and they will be the unapologetic, independent voice for Maori self-determination. The leadership draws a sharp line in the sand. They frame themselves as the ultimate grassroots defenders, standing with the people against what they call corporate exploiters, specifically naming megacorporations like BP and Fonterra as the enemy. That's the public rhetoric. But a look into the private paper trail, specifically Electoral Commission records, high court files, and the party's own internal leaks, reveals a distinctly different reality. Before we buy into an anti-corporate, grassroots political brand, we need to audit the verifiable reality of how the party governs itself behind closed doors. Let's start with that firm stance against corporate exploiters. To understand how the party actually operates financially, we have to look at the apparatus surrounding party president John Tommyhere. In 2020, Tommyhere's campaign was bankrolled by a loan over $385,000 from the Waiparera Trust, a corporate entity he runs. An additional $82,000 was routed from the National Urban Maori Authority, another organization firmly under his control. While hundreds of thousands of dollars flowed in from leadership-controlled trusts, basic accountability broke down. The party's secretary missed statutory financial filing deadlines by more than 3 months, a failure severe enough to trigger an automatic referral to the police. Funding your political ambitions with massive loans from your own corporate trusts while failing to file the basic financial paperwork required by law actively contradicts a grassroots political campaign pitch. At the Gisborne launch, co-leader Rawiri Waititi told the crowd that true leadership requires making an ultimate sacrifice. He was referring to his absence from Parliament. But 12 weeks prior, the Privileges Committee didn't accept a sacrifice. They mandated a punishment. Waititi and Nagarwa Packer were handed a 21-day disciplinary suspension. Parliament voted to enforce the penalty after finding their disruptive haka in the House could have intimidated another MP. The real cost of that action was severe: 42 combined lost days of Maori representation during a critical legislative term. There is a distinct difference between choosing a political martyrdom and serving a mandatory suspension. The leadership took a tangible loss of voter representation and carefully repackaged it into a public relations victory. The gap between rhetoric and reality widens when you look at how the party treats its own people. While promising to empower local voices, the internal structure faced a public fracture with the sudden resignation of Vice President Eru Kapa-Kingi. Upon leaving, he severed his allied protest movement's ties with the party entirely. His stated reason was clear. He described the party's internal operations as a dictatorship, where decisions bypassed collective input and were made exclusively by a 4-person inner circle. High court records validate the centralization of power, specifically regarding the unlawful expulsion of Te Tai Tokerau MP Maria Meno Kapa-Kingi by the party's National Council. This chart visualizes the party's dispute resolution rules. To expel an MP, the Constitution requires electorate involvement, but the National Council skipped mandatory steps, enforcing the expulsion top-down. That decision silenced local voters and left the entire electorate unrepresented inside the party for 26 days, right up until the High Court intervened. Bypassing your own local councils to silence an elected MP turns a grassroots movement into the exact type of authoritarian machine that the party claims to be fighting. When we look at the full record, a clear pattern emerges. We see a political organization operating through financial hypocrisy, spinning disciplinary suspensions as heroic sacrifices, and running its internal affairs like a centralized dictatorship. Holding external targets like the Crown or megacorporations accountable is a necessary part of the political process, but pointing that exact same scrutiny inward requires true political courage. A party cannot authentically champion self-determination for the people while systematically overriding the democratic voices of its own electorate councils. True political literacy means looking past the villains a party points at on stage. We have to judge our political movements by the transparency and constitutionality they actually practice when the microphones are turned off.